But
Yeah.
like, really, we're gonna find anyone else with another deck list to play on the feature match table?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit biased. I like watching Draven just because I find Draven is a at least Draven versus like a deck of a similar power level because it leads to some interesting matches. I feel like Teemo is not a similar power level, which is a bit of an
No,
issue. So,
I'm gonna go back and sit there and be
you
like,
know
"Why are
what
we
would
running team?"
would be interesting that I haven't seen actually is I would be curious to see what like a Miracle Teemo deck looks like.
It's gotta be like a
He does have that
worse
purple.
Ezreal, isn't it? At that point, like, at least you have the guaranteed Ezreal to cast to discard one, draw two, to get to the better Miracle Storm, however you want to reference it.
Mhm.
Like, Teemo doesn't run that same package. Like I said, I don't know what benefit you're gaining out of running Teemo. Like, you used to have to hold a battlefield to use your hidden cards, and that's almost impossible.
Oh,
So, uh,
so I
what is
would
this
say
battlefield do
the
again?
benefit would be what battlefield is it? Is it Paper Tree? I didn't quite see, but
No,
the oh that's mill. It's mill. It mills, I believe,
yeah,
on
all
the
right. So it
Conqueror.
is
I want to say.
Miracle. So it might be
Yeah,
Miracle.
but nice. Well, I guess we don't know whose battlefield is whose, do we? Because
I
Draven
think
can be mirror.
that, no, I think Draven flipped over the peak
Okay. Okay.
when they showed
Cool.
the graphic. I could be wrong though.
Nice. So one benefit, and we had some guys in my testing group experiment with this a little bit, of the Miracle Teemo deck is you do get to play Consult the Past for essentially free every time
Mm.
you do take a Conquer, as you don't have to pay the power to hide it. So it does let you draw a bit deeper. So it's just even more draw in the Miracle deck, which is not the worst. We do get a peek at the Draven's hand, and we see a Legion Rearguard. Okay. And a Mind Splitter. Okay.
Yeah, I almost thought we would have like mulliganed away the Legion Rearguard. I guess you want a two drop. Depends if you're going first or second, since you don't know. But I
I think
feel
you
like
kept it.
always versus Teemo, I'm looking for like Falling Star or something like that early on. Like Falling Star is so good in that Teemo matchup. It
Mhm.
just it sets the pace, and like I said, Teemo wants to conquer. So if you could take off that conquer, like easy.
Yeah. So let's see who it looks like Draven is going to be starting us off. Yep. So did hit a 2-drop, which makes the game infinitely easier. As I really do want to see something in the next few sets because if anybody's aware, we did get that big announcement kind of teasing a bunch of stuff from Riot. I would really like to see something kind of incentivize going second because it doesn't really feel like much changed about going second in Spirit Ford or Spirit Blossom. Yep.
You're
Is that
forged. You're good. You're good.
it's Spirit Forged?
Getting
Thank
there.
you, thank you. Uh, but but really though, it doesn't really feel like much changed about it. It just feels like you still I want to go first. I want to play 2-drop and I want to push up. So I would really like to see more cards like Sneaky Deckhand and stuff that really incentivize going second. But I guess we will get there when we get there, right? That is not we're still pretty far off that. And wow, hiding a card. Okay. Did
Yeah, I
we
think
see? I don't. Yeah.
Edge of Night. I think.
Okay. Okay. So you did see it.
Yeah, I think it was drawn
Okay.
off the first card for the last for the
Okay.
going first turn. But no,
Nice.
I mean I agree with you. Going second really doesn't have a benefit. Like one extra rune for me doesn't do much unless I'm playing
Hmm.
sneaky deckhand.
Hmm.
Otherwise, one extra rune is like, because you're not going to play like a kill spell on your turn one or turn zero, however you want to reference your going for your turn for three. So it's just like you don't really gain a benefit off of it. Like I said, I'd rather
Hmm.
see something really happen going second, or something more beneficial, at least.
I think it's literally just a card pool issue too, because if you look at the games where Obelisk gets played, right, where
Mm.
the going second player starts with 4 runes, then you start to see people opting to go second, right? Because then you can play like the 4-cost Draven, the 4-cost Kaisa on your first turn. So I think it's like almost there, right? Because if you do have
Right.
that 4 runes, then it actually does feel worth going second because you have these powerful 4-cost cards. So I think it's literally just like a card pool thing where once we get enough powerful 3 costs, there is that incentive to go second. But it does look like he the Draven does pick up a piercing light, which, like you said, is kind of acts like a pseudo falling star, right? Just another falling star, so probably going to be pretty good in this Teemo matchup.
Yeah. Oh, he missed his discard trigger, I think they're talking about right now. Because
That is,
technically,
hmm,
Draven responded with a stack deck to a
yeah.
conquer effect. But looks like they let him have it.
Well, merchant is mandatory, so it
Mm.
really doesn't change the game state, right? So this should go through regardless. And with the trigger changes, I do believe you do have to actually do it, but it does look like, ooh, okay, that's a fan from the Teemo. Okay, this is like pretty interesting Teemo, let's not gonna lie.
Yeah, this is like a spicy set. Like fan is low key like goaded a little bit.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
mean, as long as you can double stack it, you're perfectly fine. And yeah, we're just gonna put something underneath for hidden, and we're actually in a decent spot.
yeah, the only thing I'm a little bit afraid of is like what if you get hit by the piercing light here or a falling star, it's gonna feel pretty bad. Though he does able to establish a treasure boy in base, and that card is quite good. Though actually, I had an interesting discussion with one of my friends about is this card actually as good as it seems? And the argument was, and tell me what your thoughts are here, is that in a Draven meta, despite generating so much value, the fact that it's one might is just an insane liability and means it can never win a combat. So their argument was is that despite having an insane ability, it's just not that great of a 2-drop right now. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I sort of been in the same field since spoilers. I'm like, it's a 2-drop
Hmm.
one. Like people are like, oh, you can use some card for it in like any list. I'm like, why would I want to? Why would I want to cut traveling merchant
Hmm.
or something else that's the same cost, extra might, and generate more value?
Hmm.
I mean, I feel like it really depends on the list too, because some of these golds aren't really worth it for some of these decks. Like, how often is Teemo recycling because of Teemo's legend ability? Silver recycles a lot, but you generate gold off of your legend. So it's you just have so many ways of generating. Like a 2-cost 1-drop. Like there's got to be something better you could run in the slot,
Hmm.
right? Even the since you're blue, can't you just run the Pirate Poro and just try and get
Yeah,
a conquer
yeah.
for gold?
I like that card a lot. I think it's really helped a lot the Kaisa deck, right? Which is like now you can like play the Falling Stars and stuff for absolutely free, which is quite powerful. And it looks like so now Draven pushing up with the fan, and you got Draven and his fan on the same battlefield. That is quite a combination. So.
Yeah. Hey, fanboy has got to follow. You know, you got to follow around. It's a little stalker. He even has a mustache, which
Yep.
canon lore. He stole it off of Draven shavings.
Hmm.
Just saying, stole some actual
Hmm.
mustache hair. But no. So I guess, I mean, what does Teemo have to like just retake these battlefields? Uh, Like we have a
This
Mundo
is
in
always
hand, but that good.
Yeah, I was gonna say this has always been the issue with the Teemo deck, right? Is actually pushing onto battlefields. Like traditionally, it's been you want to take the battlefield early, and then you just kind of sit on it, and then you can eventually get like a ride the win play or something to actually, or if it comes back to you, you can like aggressively push with an Embered Monk if you have a hidden on the other battlefield. But this is the problem, right? Like, how do you actually get onto the battlefield? And it looks like aggressively digging with the cold shot here, with the floating 2.
Yeah. So we get to look at 4 cards. We
Looking
have
for
what,
notes.
5 cards in grave, I think, roughly. So Rasa can be online if we find a Rasa. That's what we're running. But like Tie Turner doesn't get us
Hmm.
there. Rebuke sort of can, but that almost feels like negative value just to move up this one might unit to a
Yeah,
battlefield. Uh, but I don't know. Do you almost just
yeah, that
take
is kind of the problem with the card, right? Is
it?
that like you can't rebuke it and then push it up because it's one might, right? You can't ever win a combat. So yeah,
I just realized we're running the uh mutagen, whatever. Can't pronounce that word card. So is our plan just all
Mhm.
in Mundo, mutagen, and swap mites? Like, do we also run switcheroos? Like,
That's a good question. And the card just doesn't feel that good here too, right? Because you have to, if you, it doesn't guarantee a one combat on either battlefield, right? Because you shove up the merchant onto the Draven battlefield and he just pops the fan and says like, I don't care, I'm not playing into a battle trick. I get the draw, this is and the gold, that's fine. And if you shove up into the Legion rear guard, I mean the hidden could be fight or flight, or it could be Edge of Night, or it could be um what's the one I'm thinking of? Please save me, please save me.
Ningex, Fight or Flight? What
The
are we? Spell Gear?
swap might one.
Oh, oh, great. I literally just switcheroo. I literally just said it
Switcheroo,
too.
thank you. Yeah, so none of these, like, the mutagen doesn't actually win any of these, right? You lose to every option. So it just feels really bad here. I don't know how you take either battlefield, to be honest.
Are we literally just going to mutagen because of Teemo might do our rider just to get 4 might to move into this battlefield? Is this the plan?
Yeah. I mean,
That
he
feels
has to take a
so
battlefield,
bad.
right?
I feel so. We've recycled 3 runes this turn. Like, oh my
Yeah.
lord, that feels horrendous.
Yep, and we're gonna lose no matter where we push it. We're gonna lose the combat too. So,
I mean, we do
which
have
is
a frigid touch in hand as long as we wait till after Edge of Night is popped to use it and not popped it preemptively because she can't go negative might, I don't think. So no matter what, it'll just be 0, and then you could call after. I mean, Edge of Night after,
it
but
just feels so bad. You have to use so many cards for this, but I guess you have to do it. Did we? Okay, he did get the gold trigger, which is good. And yep, like you said, gonna frigid touch this, opting to not repeat it as it's not necessary. The Draven does only have 1 rune up, so not really anything threatening there.
yeah, I
All
guess
right.
take our combat. But we wasted how many cards to win this combat? So Call Shot on repeat. So 2 casts of that. Teemo on cast. Frigid Touch on cast and Mutagen. We wasted 4 cards and 3 runes to make this combat work. That's the win by 2 might on on turn 2. Like,
Yeah, it does not feel good at all. And now opting to bounce the Teemo back and hide a random card from hand. I wonder what it's going to be. Actually, he does technically have the Tide Turner, though I don't see why you would bluff with that here. I guess you could, because then you could go on the... Oh, wow. Okay, just choosing the pass. Oh, he didn't have enough runes anyway. Okay, never mind. I was going to say that a kind of cool play would be is you put your opponent on have no accelerate. I mean, he has Kaisa in hand, so that's not true. But if you put your opponent on have no accelerate, you could like hide the Tide Turner there. On the next turn, retreat. Oh, that doesn't even work because, yeah, you can't retreat. So, yep. Anyways,
yep. We also
here
missed our
comes
trigger to
the
untap 2 runes to bluff something.
true.
Like, oof.
Good catch.
I mean, yeah, just lose this combat, and again, we're back to Teemo having no units and nothing on the board.
Yep, and draw 2. Draven leader draws cards.
Yep.
Good.
And there's the switcheroo. I don't. Is there like how does Draven lose this in 2 turns? Is there even a way? Like we're going to 6 runes on Teemo.
I don't see a way, particularly now that I've seen the Draven's hand, because you do even have answers for every form of Mundo push with the switcheroo and the rebuke, which feels really bad. So there's no even like come back, shove up a giant Mundo and pray. Not that the Teemo has runes for that, mind you, because we're down to 4 runes. Yeah, I personally think this is pretty wrapped up. I would just like try and move on to the next game if I was Teemo. Get to go first, so you do actually get the first push, and then get your hidden engine going. But unfortunately, losing the die roll and then also playing from behind, because the Draven did have a pretty good start, is quite rough.
Yeah. At least you drew an Egel, so we can maybe try and dig if we're on the Rasa game plan. But it's not really much else we can grab. I mean, how much... I guess the other question is, how much tech do you want to leak if you feel like you don't have a comeback situation at this point?
I mean, that's actually a pretty relevant thing, right? Is don't give information game 1. Make siding versus you worse game 2. Because if you are playing a more miracle, and I honestly don't think this is very much of a miracle list
I
after
don't
what
think so
we've seen. It just
anymore.
looks like, yeah, it's just like there isn't a ton to leak, but you are playing a lesser known deck. You are playing a deck that players probably don't have practice versus. So showing less of your cards does have some benefit there, right? Because you can say, okay, you don't know what my cards are. You might not know what the side. But I'm more concerned about time, to be honest. Like, this is like the Yu-Gi-Oh player in me speaking, is I like if I'm in a losing position and I know that I probably am not winning, and I can see from the gameplay that my opponent is competent to the point where I don't think they are going to make an insanely egregious misplay. Like, I'm just going on to the next game because it's like it's a mental reset. It gives enough time for the next game, and you can you have a little bit of time to think it over. Because when you force yourself to play out these like insane losing positions, it can be pretty bad for your mental state. So I'm not a huge fan. But looks like opting to play it out. There is a okay, so we
There's
see
a
a
Rasa.
Ride the Wind, the Mundo 8 Turner. There was a Rasa? Okay.
Yeah, there's a 10 in the
Maybe
purple,
what?
which I think is only Rasa.
Yeah, so maybe what, like a Ride the Wind Rasa here? Because you have to feels pretty rough
Yeah, I guess it really depends
if
on
you don't
like
clear.
how many cards we have. Um, I mean,
That's a
you
good
could just get
call out.
rebuked,
It
can
might
it?
not even be time. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I think that it's kind of doomed regardless.
Yeah.
But I think you kind of have to go for a Hail Mary shot if you are going to play it, right? Um,
Yeah, looks like it's definitely
you're
enough
absolutely
cards
right,
being
though.
great.
Okay, are we... Okay,
What?
okay, it looks like he's just establishing this turn and is going to pass and try and clear everything on the next turn, which is a bit scary, but opting to go for this.
I guess if you're Draven, do you just go up to 7 and then run back and just double conquer next turn? Is that just a viable game plan? Because you also have
Um,
Brim here in hand. So next turn you just drop Brim here, they can't cast, and you're their reactions hitting cards.
I want to
And
say
just
specifically because they
double
have Bring
conquer.
here, yeah. I agree with you. I agree with you. Um, I think the Bring here makes it a bit simpler, right? Because you can just say that the hiddens aren't real.
I mean, yeah, if you were to run back, play a Mind Splitter, rip a card, and then just go pass, and then next turn play Bryn here, attach Edge of Knight, and just double conquer for victory. I mean, this Teemo guy could also just be playing for best of. For all we
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
I'm, uh, but
Okay.
no, it looks like
It looks like
we're just going to establish.
going for hold, which admittedly I think is pretty plausible with both the switcheroo and the rebuke, but I actually do like your play a little bit better, is just play Mind Splitter the base. Then you're pretty much playing with full knowledge, and your board beats their board, right? So, because you will have the Draven, the Kaisa, and the Mind Splitter in your base, and you have full knowledge, and then you have the Bryn here if you do see any like tricks in hand, right? So I do like your play a little bit more than this, but I can see this working out too. It's pretty
Yeah,
hard
I
to
mean,
lose from this position, to be honest.
I have enough units, switcheroo down. Like, you definitely have more than enough to just deal with it.
Yeah.
So, what is Spinning Axe cost? Is it 2?
Two, two, yep.
Okay, so
Two,
we get Spinning Axe or
and
rebuke.
one.
The
No.
second
So what do
Mundo.
we get?
Oof.
Eesh, not a good one.
I mean, I
Right.
so what do we have? We have a fight or flight in hand from you. Like, are we just? I'm just trying to think of like a line here. Like, fight or flight. I almost say you have to fight or flight literally overzealous fan, which is the worst feeling in the entire planet. But I
Yeah.
don't think you can afford to be bounced back because I think you need
You have
Ride the Wind to move
11
over.
might, 11 might, and you are facing down 10 plus a hidden. It's just really bad because none of these options really feel good, as you do have this situation where you're losing to every hidden card in existence here, like before. and you can't just. You could go maybe push up rot. No, you can't even do that. I was gonna say like maybe there's a world where you push up Rasa and then like into the Draven, and then just like pass priority, but then you just use the Draven leader and Overzealous fan, the Draven champion and Overzealous fan, and then you get 2 Draven champion procs, which feels bad too. But
Yeah, like there's no way you can actually get out of this. I don't think. Like, even if you don't count what the hitting card is, like you're gonna fight or flight something. Overzealous fan can push back one thing, and your biggest unit is Rasa.
mhm,
Like, Overzealous fans just can push it back every time, get the trade, and
yeah,
then you can take one battlefield, but not the second. I think the second battlefield's almost impossible to take with how little resources we have. That turn where you had to waste 3 runes, I think, to really set us back.
yeah, this is not a good spot. Not a good spot at all.
Like, bro, you have
Only
taken like
4.
5 minutes to tank this turn.
uh, I have okay. So in my testing group, we have someone who has played in China before, and they said that it is not uncommon for the players there to take incredibly long because at their locals they're untimed. So these players are not used to actually playing with timed rounds. At least the locals that my friend went to. He said
Wait a
that it
minute,
was
locals
untimed.
are
So
untimed?
that's what he said. At least at the shop he went to. So
I mean, I get that it's like best of one, but come on now. Like, you want to be there for 6 hours playing 4 rounds of
yeah.
best of one? Like,
It is an interesting thing to think about though, right? Because you have these tournaments where people are playing with it's like the only time they play it with timed rounds. So you're just not used to it. And when you play with time, like a time crunch, you actually do have to play slightly differently, right? Like I said, conceding and losing positions, making sure that you have time for the next few games, playing for points in time, that's like a real thing. And you have to have played these positions to be entirely aware of how they work, right? Like, how do I go for the 2-point lead and how do I deny him points? Like, it's not always the same line as if you're going for the actual win. But
that's fair.
still,
I think the spinning axe just blew this out the water, though. Yeah,
yeah.
good job. Good job.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you
I
could
mean,
have
you could
saved
have scooped
10
that
minutes.
up for real. Like, I
Yeah,
know there's
yeah.
60-minute rounds, but come on now.
Which is traditionally Teemo's best battlefield. So if there's any game Teemo can win, it is going first with Bandletree.
Yeah, so yeah, let's see if we see the similarities. 'Cause I'm like sitting there just trying to think of this, like, what else is Teemo gonna have in this list to get through it? And I just really don't know. I mean, I guess we only saw like a quarter of the deck, to be honest. So we don't
Yep.
really know how quick. I mean, running only two drops seems low between Traveling Merchant and Treasure Hunter. So I imagine we have more that we haven't seen.
You played Todd Turner. Yeah, we
Oh,
saw
that's right,
those two
Tide
more.
Turner. Sorry, I
Yeah.
don't count those as a 2-drop because it's usually hidden. If your
Fair
turn
enough.
1 is dropping a Tide Turner, that hand is bricked. That hand is absolutely bricked.
So this is actually kind of an interesting dynamic, and it is one of the best things that the Draven deck can do, is you play this obelisk, and against the decks that really want to go first, you're kind of put in this difficult spot where do I still go first? Because if you choose to go first against the obelisk, then they can go just turn 1 Draven, and turn 1 Draven does represent turn 2 technically. Turn 2 Draven, and then just push up on their second turn with Draven, and that can represent pretty big threat. So I imagine you still do choose to go first with Teemo, as I mean you need to take a battlefield, but if it looks like the Draven did brick, like I don't see any units, right?
I mean, he mulliganed an Overzealous fan, which was interesting. Maybe because he thought, because like you said, he's going up to 4 runes anyway. You could just hard play Draven, and it's not that big of a deal to not have a 2-drop and look for better answers.
But does draw the Noxus Hopeful for turn, which is going to be pretty good next turn. And the Teemo has quite a bit to work with here. I think I see a Consult the Past in hand, so is going to be able to see a bunch of cards here. And obviously Merchant is going to see even more cards. So what do we choose? Is that double Consult the Past? It looks kind of like it.
Yeah, this is like a sort of really weird hand. Yeah, I guess you to get rid of one of those because it's just like you have Fight or Flight, which you want to keep. You have Ezra, which you want to keep. And the double Consult the Pass is like the only thing I imagine you get rid of to just do this Merchant trigger. Because I mean, I don't even know if you can even play Ezreal flat out right now. Because like, what are you discarding?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I mean, you could go like, yeah, I don't know. I think you're just not playing Ezreal. I think you're hiding Consult the Past here and probably passing.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want, you could hide Fight or Flight, but I don't think you need to with Overzealous Fan. So I guess we decide to anyway.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. I will say the scary thing against this deck is you can just get like it is a real possibility to just get double fight or flighted, even like a Rebuke Fight or Flight, and then just lose the battlefield. Especially since you probably don't have a hidden unit there. The only hidden units that you're generally playing are the Teemo, and that's just a one of from your champion zone, so you know it's not that. And like hiding a tie turner here is really weird and almost certainly isn't the case. So you potentially could lose a lot here to like a double pushback, but that's not going to happen as Draven pretty straightforward, just choosing the push up onto the empty battlefield, which makes sense. He does have the option for like a ride the wind play here, but obviously you would not want to do that. Is he trying to? Yeah,
You cannot yet.
the path.
Yeah, had to do it in the showdown.
Yeah. That being said, there's really no downside to just doing it on your turn. So,
yeah. I mean, also, I guess it sort of works out because I'm the type of player. I don't know if you are. If I saw Consult the Pass in response to the showdown and that hard bargain hand, I low-key might have would have hard bargained that showdown, that Consult the Pass.
I mean, if you don't have other cards to play, yeah, like there's no real downside to it. And we've seen, as with game one, that the Teemo deck had issue getting cards, right? It ended the game with what, like 3 cards in hand?
Yep, and it has to recycle a lot to dig, so yeah.
So I do like stopping decks from drawing cards. Drawing cards is something I'm allowed to do, not my opponents.
So I imagine we're just going to drop Ember Monk here and just say pass, because once again, Ezreal has nothing to discard. Like, there's nothing else of value that we have right now.
I'm surprised that he plays it to base. I thought you would like play it to the battlefield and then retreat off the Merchant if you did want to contest the other battlefield, because the monk represents like a really big number, and with the double hit in there, and that battlefield is in danger with like a Draven hopeful, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like Draven alone can move up and eat a Fight or Flight, and hopeful moves up and eats the Zealous Fan, which is okay. I mean, I think we would take both those just to be off a turn.
You know, and there's a ride the wind in the Draven hand too, so like that doesn't even end the push. Like you could go Draven push up ability, go the 6, get fight or flighted, ride the wind, Draven push up. You don't even need to use the ability. Let's be real here. Those units are tiny. The only way you are losing this combat is if the and see, there's the thunder. This card's so good right now.
This card is so good. I was about to say, like, do we just play Brimir here and just go ahead and just conquer? And yeah, oh, wait, like, there's, you called it. You called the sideboard card.
Yep. I'm surprised there's a Mundo in his deck still, because that card seems kind of egregiously bad, but yeah.
Are we just discarding it here for Traveling Merchant?
I hope so.
No, he discards his own Teemo. I guess that's fair. Teemo's not going to get any value if he can't be hidden.
That is interesting. I definitely would have liked to discard the Mundo, because that card seems quite bad. But now Draven is pretty free here to take a Conquer, go up to 3. And normally, I'm not a huge fan of going odd points with the Draven deck, but I mean, against the Teemo deck, going on the battlefields is always a good thing. And he does actually get to keep his Draven safe in base, so to avoid the gold generation. So I wonder if there's a argument there actually for saying, okay, you can have the 1 gold and I'm going to out your Draven then on the next turn instead. Don't know though, because you're trading the gold for the Draven unit to be available and safe in the backline. That being said, there is a singularity in hand, so it's not really safe, like we do know. But if you are using the singularity, he's at what, 5, 6, 7 runes, I want to say. So only 3 runes to work with for the rest of his turn. And I don't know if you can. I guess we'll have to see what he can do, though. Clearing the board would be pretty good. You could go singularity, the background line, push up Embered onto the Tide Turner. And then, actually, you probably just wages the Tide Turner.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, imagine we're just going to singularity Draven and something else, and then just wages a pain the Tide Turner, and then just say go. Maybe take a battlefield if we're able to, depending on what we target here. But I mean, we'll see. We also see what's on this top. I mean, he might be really committed to Mundo, and I won't be surprised at this rate to just see a hard, flat Mundo just being casted here.
I hope not, but I mean, you never know with these rogue decks. So let's see what he's got in mind. But I would like to see the singularity here. Definitely would not hate it.
Save Draven? Spinning Axe is 3, right?
Yeah, actually, that is something to keep in mind, isn't it? That's quite annoying. Maybe you could. It could be just. Actually, it saves whatever you drop it on, right? So that's actually maybe something to be aware of, right? That was a good call. Good call.
You almost just got to target Hopeful and Draven, make them save one of them, which is probably going to be Draven. But at least you clear Hopeful off, clear that hidden card out.
Yep.
Wait a minute, can't... No, it doesn't work. I was trying to think, is there a line with Switcheroo, but there's not a line with Switcheroo to swap. I guess it sort of depends on the target declaration. Because you could Spinning Axe one of them, then Switcheroo your health points around, depending.
There is, well, you wouldn't be able to do that, right? Because Switcheroo, if it's hidden, it can only target stuff at the battlefield. But the scary thing here is if that's an Edge of Night, because then you could just save both, right?
Yeah. So Singular is coming down. We did have Draven and Noxus Hopeful. I guess the question is, do we want to... We can't hard bargain it because your opponent has... I mean, or do you... I guess it's also a debate. There's also the debate if you just hard bargain here, make your opponent fully tap out so they can't lead. But I don't like it.
Let me think. I actually don't hate hard bargain here. Let me think. So if you hard bargain here, and then that forces them to go to that. No, yeah, you're right. It can't be hard bargain because then at that point you don't really have anything to. You're not saving your guys, and you just go at that point. You have no runes up to contest, and then it just goes Embered Conquer on Tide Turner, Merchant Conquer on Vandal. So yeah, you're right. You can't hard bargain that. What is...
He's not even spinning acting to save one.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't. Well, I guess the scary part there is it is a Teemo deck, right? So there is a non-zero chance that he's playing like Stupefies, and you get punished pretty hard by a Stupefy, right? Because it's just Stupefy, kill it, and then you lose the spinning axe as well.
Yeah, unless you're trying to save it maybe for Tide Turner to be saved. I guess the plan is just wages a pain now that Tide Turner to force out if they have something or a response. And then if they do, you could just Traveling Merchant, sack, get the trade, and then Ember Monk set up something into a battlefield you want, which is probably going to be Bandle Tree with double hidden.
Looks like he is saying you can have that obelisk. Or unless he chooses the wages here. He might choose the wages here, right? Just wages and then shove up. But Teemo is a deck that... Yeah?
Good. No, good.
I was going to say, Teemo is a deck that is fine on being on odd points. It is generally a hold-based deck. So I wouldn't hate staying on odd here. I mean, Tide Turner not really representing a huge threat there, though Draven will be in the points lead, but not by much.
I'm surprised we didn't just Tide Turner under just get the double hidden for Ember Monk.
Yeah, because what this goes up to 6 plus wages damage, so that beats the Brenner, but it doesn't. This is actually kind of a weird play, right? Because now you just lose if the Draven just leads with fight or flight onto the Ember Monk. It's really bad for you.
Yeah, like there's gonna be a fighter fight that's gonna come on down here. Oh, I don't hate this. They'll hold up, let me hard bargain it, and then if you have your own fighter fight, make you let this hard bargain fizzle and then force your own fighter fight out.
I'm
Because how does
surprised that.
I'm thinking to myself, good.
No, I'm just surprised that the Draven played it this way, right? Because wouldn't fight or flight be like really good here? Just like open with fight or flight on Ember Monk.
Yeah, because you even have enough to just go ahead and pay their own hard bargain costs if they hard bargain you. You're literally spending the same amount and keeping your own hard bargain in hand. So I don't hate it if we just fight or flighted here, because then that would fizzle. Can hard bargain target your own units? Can you just hard bargain your own Amber Monk just to get the gold generation?
Do you mean you could,
Wages of
but
pain. Wages of pain. Wages of pain.
I guess the idea is that he could just flip wages, kill or do the damage to his own dude. It does 3 damage, right? I believe it does 3 damage. Because
Yeah,
in
I'm
that
saying in
case,
response to a fight or flight, just just to get the
yeah,
value since you're moving back anyway.
I believe so. I guess this does work. This definitely does work. Choosing to go up to 5 points, but like we said, it's better to be sitting on the battlefields versus this Teemo deck, as it is not very good at pushing up. Opting to Ezreal does finally come down. This card is quite good.
Yeah,
One
I
of my
mean,
favorites.
favorite card. I mean, it's also my favorite 80 carry, but it's it's neither here or there.
Are you an 80 carry player?
Yeah, I forced to. I literally started playing League back in like 2012. I was playing top and jungle, and my team was just like, I'm not my team. My like buddies just like, hey, no one really plays 80 carry. Do you want to? Can you play 80 carry? And I was like, I guess. And like, oh, you're good at farming, so you're stuck playing. I'm like, I guess. So I've been playing.
That's funny. So to answer the user in the chat, if a card is countered, it is not played, and so this matters quite a bit for the so for the Yi versus Kaisa matchup in set 1. Is if your opponent only has runes for 1 spell plus Darius, if you do defy the spell, the Darius will not get readied. And this also matters for the Ravenbloom student, as it won't get the +1 either. So no, a card is not played if it is countered. So
Yep.
yes.
The rules of the game literally states that a card to be considered played it has to resolve. It isn't like Magic where play is just casting the card or a spell or something like that.
Yep. So dropping a wages here and does flip a Edge of Night, and this was kind of expected. Do we still get the gold token, which is good? Believe it's at what?
1 because it goes with the 4.
Yes. So again, if he did have the Stupefy, this would be like showing the Stupefy here, because this is a pretty clear Stupefy to clear, but I think we do know that he doesn't have that. So
I mean, this is sort of messed up. Can you? No, I don't want to do that. That's just neg. I was too busy thinking of meme lines. I'm like, do we just swap the Might Ever Traveling Merchant and and the Tie Turner just so it dies?
well, the funny one is the real funny one, and this is really I guess no, that would be pretty funny, wouldn't it? But because then you uh, I was gonna say, like, you could go the swap on the merchant and the Brenner push-up merchant onto the obelisk, kill that, and then again, funny play, not good play, is ride the win over and then kill the Brenner. But there are 4 runes up for Draven. Draven notorious for having combat tricks like the axes, like the fighter flights. I would not feel confident doing that. So instead, it looks like opting to just hard fighter flight back and then probably push up his merchant.
almost wondering if you're Draven, you just fight or flight back to Merchant after, because your opponent only has one rune up. Like, there's no combat tricks you're afraid of. And guarantees us going up to 6 and then conquering to 7, and then we just have everything up afterwards just to get up to that point threshold.
You could. I think I'm okay with this though. I think having the fight or flight is like an option on my own turn for pushing is something I'd like to see because it really messes with the hidden cards a lot.
Yeah. Whoa, we discarded Mundo. Whoa, we finally got off the Mundo train.
What? Oh, so this is it. This is still on the
Move
combat.
trigger.
So opting to fight or flight it back up, and this is going to be quite brutal for the Teemo players. Is puts them is going to be going to 7. Oh my.
Going to 7 with literally just a Rasa in hand to then fight or fight your own Rasa up is just. About to say no, but that's a thank you, Judge. So they put him up to 6 for some reason. I'm like, hold on, he already owned this battlefield, and the ownership hasn't moved. So, oh,
Yeah, and you can even just with the Teemo having so little resources available to him, you could even go for the hold, right? As much as I hate going for hold lines with like these aggressive decks, I think Draven is like pretty apt at doing it. And not only that, you're playing against a deck that's notoriously bad at pushing, and you just need to hold a single battlefield. And you really don't even need to commit much from your hand. You could play like just a couple cards and then hold up like 4 runes. I have no idea what's in his hand because I can't really see, but I would imagine there's probably at least like a fight or flight, maybe a couple hiddens.
yeah, there's also a fight or flight, a Kaisa, a spinning axe, and a hard.
Mhm.
No, not hard bar. I don't know what the Oscar is, but ooh, Darius is going to come down and make that a 10 might battlefield, which is even harder to take over. Like Bamboozle is going to do work here, and that's all you can hope for.
Mhm. So I see a Tide Turner. Is that Tide Turner, fight or flight, Kaisa? Is that another ride to win? No, that's a
No.
Tide Turner. Okay.
Yeah, it's a Tide Turner. But I wonder if we just hide Tide Turner under the Tide Turner battlefield, and then he can move something over later. Oh
Mhm.
wait, you could just double hidden card because it's Banditry. You could just move your own Tide Turner back over here to really secure the hold.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff that could be done with the Tide Turner here. So one is the Tide Turner, one is the Fight or Flight, I want to say. Yeah, because the hand is Spinning Axe Kaisa. Okay, yep. So not sure which one he hid where, but I mean,
I
this is
want
a
to say Fight or
pretty
Flight
rough.
gonna be
Yeah.
Banditry.
Okay. Okay.
We'll see.
Hmm.
I mean, even worse feeling right now. Like even if we win this game as Teemo, we're at 13 minutes left in game 3.
Yep.
You guys get back to the game,
Points
and then
now.
we could talk during the intermission.
Wait, and then he conceded. What the hell just happened?
Wait, did they just give it to the Draven?
Boy, he went back
So
to it. He
you
was
were
at
right
6
then.
points all of a sudden. Yeah, I think they rewound and then just passed the turnover. So I think they rewound the whole thing to that Teemo's last turn.
I just
That
noticed.
was the
Look at the
longest
Draven
rewind.
player's name. He has Kaisa in his name.
I like it.